Bird told me that Bernie Madoff died. He was talking to some other jailbirds, and they said he's gone. They're going to bury him with a satchel of money and some fine wine, I'm sure. Thank you. No, the Bernie Madoff story is not made up. It's made off. He made off with everybody's money, including Steven Spielberg. Big time directors, Kevin Bacon. They all were Jews who invested in his schemes because he thought that he could persuade the Jewish community to have a private funding, so they would be able to not secretly. They would share with each other on how they had this great little club. And you know what? He built a lot of the Jewish community based on that Ponzi scheme, they call it. But he was the head of NASDAQ, where I did my show from the Times Square NASDAQ window on NBC's digital channels. We were one of the first people to do that, just to throw a little plug in here. I'll tell you something, though. My friend Barry Bergman he's a music expert. I met him when he was on Wall Street. He was 19 years old, and he came down. He didn't want to be on Wall Street so much. He wanted to be in the music business, and he brought me the guy who made Tommy James's records so popular and such a hit. And I was a disc jockey in Buffalo, number one jock in the country, and Barry came to me, and I played his records and never took payoffs. So we stayed friends. Now, Barry called to inform him. Now, see, Barry's the kind of a guy that he has very low level of trust. Probably learned that on Wall Street. While I am talking to him and giving him a story, he fact checks. What he does is I'll say Bernie Madoff died, and he'll be Googling it to make sure that what I say is true. Well, Google is not any smarter than I am, because I'm experienced, been around a long time, and I get my information, and my brain works this way. But Google, it has someone feeding it. There's someone on the other end giving Google information. Google it's not just an infomaniac. Google is a machine, and it's got somebody or some people behind it that give it the power that it needs to have. It's like robots. Robots aren't going to beat you up because they're programmed to go so far, unless you program a robot to beat someone up. Then you got a robot. But our world is so changing with electronics, and I believe in it. It's connectivity. Connectivity is how we connect with each other. That's the way we find jobs now. You don't get jobs anymore with resumes. You get jobs with relationships, with knowing somebody, and someone who knows someone else told someone else. It's a chain of events. Unfortunately, we're in a time in history when everybody is separated. Except for one thing, the black community is now doing the thing that Martin Luther King did not want to have happen. It's called segregation. What's happening, there's a trio of kids in Philadelphia. They're triplets. They're in wonderful shape, and they're exercising, and they're showing people how to stay healthy, which is a good thing. And they're youngsters, and they got the energy, and they got the right moves. But they are doing this to help support the black businesses in Philadelphia, to begin with, probably all over the country. But you can't be segmenting. It's segregation. We got to start putting everybody together again. We thought we were going to have a president that would form community, and now we got more arguments. People are mad at this guy. They're mad at that guy. People are mad at everything. People are just mad. Remember that movie, Mad, Mad, Mad World? It was spelled M-A-D-D. Well, we're there. And I'd like to change it. I can't. I'm not in charge. I don't have the power to change anything. I'm not a miracle worker. But I will tell you this: I've seen so many damn things different than in my life at this point than I ever have in the earlier part of my life. Probably because we have more communications. There's more space to be filled with broadcasting, and media is just driven by ads. Ads are driven by ad agencies. Ad agencies are driven by social conditions, and it comes down to social networking, which actually is very boring. To be honest about it, the worst people in the world on the air are the social networkers. And the worst commercials are, for instance, that girl at AT&T. She has the talent of a flea. That girl, she's a millennial. She sits there, and they think, I will bet you, AT&T is such a multi-trillion-dollar company, but they think they got a little millennial girl as a typical AT&T store server. And they put her on the commercial like she's going to solve a problem. She wouldn't know how to plug in what are they using this for? Why don't we put experts on the TV? Why don't we upgrade? That's what we're going to do. We're going to work on the infrastructure. We need to work on the infrastructure of our brains and start to realize that we have to raise the bar, not come down to the street. The language on television, the ignorance, the violence, all of this stuff, this is all street crap. And it needs to go away. The only way it's going to go away is when we start acting a little bit more. We have to have good manners. We have to be more civil, be a little more intelligent, and not sing-songing like I am right now or preachy, because this loses the crowd. See, we have to entertain people. If you don't entertain them, and they have a way to figure it out, Even Johnny Carson, if you remember him on television, he used to say a joke has to be set up in three divisions. You have to set it up, you have to knock it down, and then you have to comment on it. It's a three-part plan. And we should apply that principle to everything in our society. You say something and then you back it up and then you give the punchline. You gotta, or the review. There's a way to do all of this stuff. Even Les Paul used to say to me when he was teaching me stand-up comedy, he said, you got 3 shots. You throw one out of your head, something you think is funny, and if that doesn't work, then you throw out something that you think the audience thinks is funny. And if that doesn't work, then you better use something that did work once before, and if none of that works, you better go home. You're done. You learn from people who have experience in every field. And I don't think we're in that place right now. We're too busy trying to put women, black people, when I say black, brown, black, whatever color, other than white, other than Caucasian, we're putting people in places where they're skilled. You have to be skilled. Now you do learn by trying, and experience comes from action. I think everyone needs a shot. I think we all need to be. Johnson & Johnson is a one shot. Oh, that's because Johnson didn't talk to Johnson. But we have to really have a plan in this world right now for people to be better mannered, better educated, and not give away the store just to make money. Although, let me say this, the money is very important. You got to pay the bills, and everybody wants something. We see it on television, we see the ads, we watch it on radio, watch it online. You see someone else owns something, you're going to want something. But that's not what you need, it's what you want. We have to get what we need. We need to be fed somewhere along the line. Again, we need to have somebody that brings us into a place where we have some commonality and some connectivity. We got commonality we don't have. What's in common? What's common sense? There's no common sense anymore. We lost it. You got to have this kind of a posturing right now where someone comes along, not one person, and teaches another person, and we start with the family. That's what I'm doing with my kids, by modeling. You do what the kids do not listen to what we say anyway. They only watch what we do. They never do listen to what we say. I didn't listen to what my parents said. I just watched what they were doing, and then I went the other way. That's what they do. That's what we do. Oh man, so much. There's so much here, but we got to start talking this way, the way I'm talking right now. We got to start exchanging views this way. Maybe sitting down at the same table again. We haven't done that in a long time. Everybody takes their food and they go to their corner. They take their the worst thing is a person who you're visiting them, they're visiting you. Maybe you go out to dinner these days if you've had your vaccine and you can take your mask off. But when you sit there and someone is texting while they're with you, that means they're tired of what you're saying. They don't want to hear what you're saying. They're not interested in you, and they're not patient, and they're not acting with good manners. It's just manners. You at least smile. You don't have to even pay attention to what I'm saying, but put on that big grin. You don't have to agree with me, but you have to let me do what I'm doing. And that's the freedom that we all enjoy in this country so far. I'm glad that we're leaving Afghanistan because we never belonged there to begin with. How about that for a comment? It's a Reynolds wrap.